Welcome back. We're here for another episode of Unmasked with David and myself, Marissa.
Hi.
Hello.
Good to see you all.
It's great to be back. So today we wanted to discuss the concept of mind over matter. And I didn't realize before we began preparing for the video that this is actually a huge concept. There's lots to unpack. And I wanted to begin by mentioning that initially, when I thought of the concept of mind over matter, I started to think about determination. If I set my mind to it, if I set my sights on a goal, I can make it happen. And I think it's motivational and it's a great way to think, but I think that doesn't even really scratch the surface of what this concept is really all about. So I was hoping you could give us more of a spiritual insight into mind over matter.
So what you're saying is exactly right, because this concept been used more and more in the world of empowerment, the world of coaching, the world of positive words. So it's a little bit more than positive thinking of where you focus, that's where your energy flows. Mm-hmm. It's more about doing the impossible possible, even when all the physical laws of this word tells you that it's impossible to do.
Right.
To that level the Kabbalists went, and this is one of the highest purposes of the Kabbalistic teachings in general.
Okay.
You know, we've been talking about many things that could sound very psychological, like pain, like stress, like overcoming challenges.
Yes.
Everyone talks about those concepts,
Mm-hmm.
but when you delve into really the deep understanding of the writings of the Kabbalists, they're understanding that we must come to the level when we are controlling our reality completely, controlling completely the physical appearance of everything.
Okay.
So when we are facing a very tragic situation, it could be an accident or an illness or a very surprising kind of chaotic environment that we are in, we suppose really to take control over that situation.
Okay.
That's what really the reason why we put there to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So we understand that no matter what happens in life, it's how to lead us really to create mind over matter.
Right.
So I can share with you one example of something that was very close to me, very close to the teachers in our center and the family members of the Rav, the dean of the center. And he went through a stroke 13 years ago. And that stroke was devastating. It means that we were so surprised by it. And the doctors determined that the Rav wouldn't be able to function anymore. We'll have to stay vegetable for the rest of his life.
Wow.
Because the scanning, the CT scanning that made to him showed that there is some kind of a black hole inside his brain that is impossible really to function, to send messages to every part of our body in order to function.
Right.
And when they gave this news to our teacher, to his wife, Karen Berg, so Karen Berg immediately answered them, "You don't know who you're dealing with."
Wow.
And it appeared to be that after a couple of days in coma, the Rav awakened. The Rav woke up and spoke and recite a prayer and
wow.
Do a blessing over the wine. It was during the Shabbat, and everyone were surprised, and the doctors were there, like they say, "What's going on here? I mean, this is defying every scientific law that exists out there according
right.
to what we see. Who is this person?"
Yeah.
And they start asking the questions. So they explain them that this is a Kabbalist. And a Kabbalist is someone that it doesn't really define by any of the physical laws of this cosmos. And this is an example of how much we can achieve with mind over matter? How much with the power of consciousness
Yes.
we can bypass any physical limitation, even though it's been determined by the best scientists or the best doctors in the world. And we have more and more examples like that of people that overcoming cancer and people that overcoming very difficult situations and people that grew up from poverty and make things happen in their life.
David, this is very compelling. My mind is going in 1,000 directions. I have so many questions, so many things I want to say, but in fact, this actually reminds me of one of our favorite movies, The Matrix.
Yeah.
Because once, spoiler alert, once Neo realizes that there is a matrix and that he's been in the matrix, he is able to reprogram his brain and overcome every law of science, every truth that we know to exist. And, you know, I always think about the glitch in the system when it's deja vu and he sees the cat twice.
Yeah.
You know, this is very Kabbalistic in the way that they explain the reality, because they really do help us to see that this physical reality is an illusion. And once we tap into that and once we connect to that consciousness, we can defy time, space, and motion.
Yeah, my favorite part that he was able to dodge those bullets and act exactly like the agent. You know,
Yes.
the agent represent the opponent in a
Yes.
way that the opponent have no limitation of how many tricks he can pull out on us. So he
And
was
the
able
opponent-
really to have the same powers of that opponent pretty
Yes.
much. And trick the opponent to that level that he was able really eventually to penetrate into him. It's something that shows that he defeat all the limitation of that matrix, yeah?
Absolutely. And I also like to think about, one of our teachers was recently speaking about how the Rav used to talk about the cloud before it even existed, before the internet. It's maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
No, the Rav always mentioned that, you know, the wisdom is an energy force that you can tap into it. It is stored in the cosmos. And you
Right.
just need to connect to it like you're connecting to a Wi-Fi.
Wow.
Meaning that there is so much wisdom out there. And it's interesting because these days we can understand it
Yes.
more than ever before. You know, when I've just a small question, I just type it on Google. Immediately, I get like so many different answers that can solve my question, can solve my problems. So time and space are no longer serving as a limitation as they were before the technology that we see today in the world. So
Yeah.
you just mentioned to me that you had a dinner with someone in Texas, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How did you do that?
Just went online. So it's funny actually. There's a class that is taught in London, which, as we know, is 5 hours ahead of us. And every week I have an alert that goes off in my calendar, and it reminds me of this class. And I always want to go, but guess what? It's at 7 in the morning. Not going to happen. Recently, I decided I'm going to start waking up at 6 o'clock every morning because I wanted to tackle life in a different way. I wanted to change my consciousness and therefore change my reality. So, 7 o'clock, I'm online, I'm in London, half the students are in the class are from the Philippines. I'm completely transcending time, space, and motion. I have a community of people that I'm learning and I'm studying with, and I've never met them in real life, but they're there.
That's what happened thanks to the pandemic.
Yes.
For us as a spiritual movement, it opened like such a big
Huge.
gate for us that since then we start doing like those courses online and connecting people from all over the world, from all different time zones. We're talking about thousands of people that are getting together and studying spirituality and injecting themselves with positivity.
Yes.
And actually there is a course that is about to open. I will put the link just for anyone from the audience that would like to experience that, because it's extremely energizing.
It is extremely energizing, and I think it's really important to add that the classes are donation based when you sign up, so they're completely free if you are not able to donate. And I think that that's something else that we've been able to do during the pandemic. It's share the wisdom and make it so much more accessible to anybody.
But you know, before the pandemic, people were so skeptic about taking an online course.
Yes.
Feeling, oh, it's not the same experience. I want to feel the teacher, I want to feel the crowd. But it appeared to be that energy can flow even through Zoom. Because energy doesn't have the limitation of time and space. And this is what we call mind over matter, truly.
Yes, absolutely. My mentor always used to tell me that perception is reality. And I always really connected to that, and I really enjoyed that phrase. But now I'm starting to see that as much as perception is reality, if I shift my perception, if I shift my consciousness, I've now shifted my reality.
There is an example that we use in classes that I really love, about the concerned mother that a baby fall under the car, and she was so devastated that she was able to pull up the car with her own forces in a miraculous way.
Yes.
And pull the baby out. It means that she was connecting to powers just instinctively, without even thinking about it, that will help her really to solve, whatever happened there.
That's actually, it just gives me a chill, and I think there's probably some skeptical people, and I'm also a skeptic, so don't worry, you're in good company, but there's probably some skeptical people listening to us thinking that everything we're saying is very nice, but it's not possible. And I'm here to say that I would say in just about a year, my entire reality has shifted from just following these teachings and really connecting to the wisdom and just trying to live by the values and the tools that have been shared with me. It really works. That's all I wanted to say. It works. Don't doubt it. Just try it.
Exactly. The idea is to do experiment in life.
Yes.
That's what I'm sharing with my student. Meaning that instead of dealing, I believe in it, not believing in it, just take time and experiment things and test them and to see how they work.
Yeah.
And if you do it with the bottom of your heart, with opening, you will see that things kind of out of the blue, extraordinary things can happen in our life, and the communications that can take place only with the power of thought, like when you're thinking about a person suddenly calling you, and when you have a dream or you're concerned about someone, there is a reason why it's happening. You're expanding all your communication skills. This is the whole idea of life, and start to see that you are able to control everything that happens.
You are, and when I arrived here today, I think I kind of exploded a fireball of energy on you. I was so excited. I just had to tell you about my Uber ride on the way here, because I had a challenge. I got off in the wrong streetcar stop, and I was going to be much later than I had hoped. And I don't like to be late. And so I just quickly flipped the switch. I said, I'm going to call an Uber. And immediately my mind went to, there's something that I'm meant to do in this Uber ride. I don't know what it is yet, but there's something that's going to happen. I had the most wonderful gentleman driving me up here today, and we had the most lovely conversation, and I felt like we were connecting on a soul level, and we were sharing ideas and positive thinking, and I felt very deeply that I was revealing something very special in that moment. Marissa 1 year ago would have lost her mind if she got off on the wrong stop. I would have had a meltdown because I'm going to be late and I'm disrespecting my teacher and he's going to think I'm irresponsible and why couldn't I, and I would probably beat myself up about it as well. So it's really just so simple as choosing to look at the glass half full. It just start from there and immediately your whole world begins to transform.
So the truth is that no matter how successful we are and determined we are, there are areas in our life that we feel defeated, that we feel that we're not able really to control.
Yes.
This is our belief system,
Yes.
you understand?
Yes.
And those are the places that related to our tikkun, to the reason why we came to our life, so we can bypass the limitations, so we can become true winners and true mind over matter, controlling that situation. That's what we came to learn. It's not on those areas that we are good at, that we experience it.
Right.
It's where we are defeated by the rational mind. Those are the places we are to create mind over matter. In the 15th of this month, we are connecting to the window in time that called Tu B'Shvat. And it's the anniversary of the planet kingdom. What is different between the planet kingdom to the human kingdom is that the plants, are, especially the trees, are the one that constantly growing against gravity, defying gravity and defying the what we see as limitation of the world.
Right.
And it's something that we all can tap to on that day.
Wow. That's really wonderful. And I might just add as well that the 15th of the month is in a different calendar.
So we're talking about, the Kabbalistic calendar, that usually the 15 is something that we can all see if we have a clear sky. It means that there is a full moon.
Right.
And full moon represent a significant interaction between the sun and the moon. Means this is the reason why it's so lit up. It means it's receiving the energy from the sun in fullness. So many of those windows in times are happening on full moons.
Well, as always, I thoroughly enjoyed having this conversation with you. And when I rewatch these videos myself, I always feel very inspired by the things that you've shared, and it's like I wasn't even there for the conversation. I'm learning it all over again. So I really hope that energy is felt by everybody who's watching this, and I just want to thank you so much for your time and for the wisdom that you shared today.
Thank you very much. See you next time.
See you next time.